Simon aboard A-hole here. It is boiling hot in the UK and I am struggling to survive because I'm a massive loser. So I thought, what should we do on a Thursday? We should talk about male birth control. Now, as always, I'm sure somebody else has done this video. I can only stumble across this stuff when I stumble across this stuff. But it was sent to me. I did read it. I mean, the headline was, Beyond Condoms. Do new options mean men will take more responsibility for birth control? So I'm going to read that because I don't really understand how it's going to work. But I bet it ties into hormones. Obviously, it's going to tie into hormones. If it ties into hormones, it probably ties into bodybuilding, fitness, going to the gym, and how your endocrine system works. Now, let's talk about the moral side of it first. Is that the right word? I don't even know. Would it be great if we lived in a world, in a universe, where men could take more responsibility for birth control? Absolutely. I've always said this. I've said it to my own girlfriend. Hopefully she doesn't mind me talking about this. But I think it's kind of mad that we go, hey, yeah, you just take a pill and you let that screw up your estrogen and your progesterone or whatever else is going on, and I'll just sit here and do my bit. Now, I know that condoms are an option as well, but you know what I mean? It would be nice if there was more of a conversation to be had. Sex is a two-way street. It should never be put on one person's shoulders. That is ridiculously unfair. And of course, if medical science can get to the point where there is more balance, then I would be all for it. But when you read through this, I don't really think they've come up with much of a solution, and I'm going to tell you why. Let's just get into it, because it says, male contraception has been limited to the same two options for more than a century, wearing condoms or having a vasectomy, and I'm sure you know what both of those are. If not, vasectomy is basically just, tie it up so nothing can come out. That's a very simple explanation, and a condom is a condom. In comparison, when it comes to reversible forms of birth control, women are able to choose between a dozen methods, so on and so forth. But as women increasingly speak out about the hassle of trying to stay on top of their reproductive cycles, again, a really difficult thing to do, a significant proportion of men are showing interest in helping to relieve their female partner of the burden of birth control. Absolutely. So what options will men have in the future? Here's a look at some of the most promising in the pipeline. And the first is a shoulder gel. And what this basically is, and I'm reading this verbatim from this article, is applying a testosterone gel daily onto your upper arms and back. It's called Testosterone. It contains both testosterone and progestin, a synthetic form of progesterone, and the progesterone blocks natural testosterone production in the testes, reducing sperm production to low or non-existent levels. The replacement testosterone aims to maintain normal sex drive and other hormone-driven functions. Now, this is just TRT. This is all this is. Like, when you go on TRT, you can go on a gel, you can go on injections, you can go on a long 3-month injection. I believe it's called Nebido or something like that. You have plenty of options and you need to figure out which one is best for you. But that is just one of the options. And of course, as soon as you go on to a testosterone gel, your own body is going to stop producing natural testosterone, which is what they've kind of just said there. But usually the reason you want to go on this gel is because you've screwed up your endocrine system, or you've just got old, or you're suffering from hypogonadism, or whatever the hell it's going to be, and you need to turn things back on. And the way you do that is synthetically through medication. But if you don't need this and you go on it, you're just going to tank your testosterone levels to the point that if you're on it too long, you're probably not going to be able to turn them back on. So that's the thing where you start thinking, well, wait a minute. And sometimes people that go onto these testosterone gels and TRT in general, and again, there's studies for both sides as always, but they can't actually ever have a kid because their sperm basically becomes useless. That's what happens. You basically kill all your sperm and you become impotent because, of course, as soon as you start going in there and fiddling around with things, you can't expect to have a perfect outcome every single time. Some people are good, some people aren't. I mean, that's always been the rumor with professional wrestlers, and I'm not pretending I know either way, but there was a time in sort of like 2006, 2007 when Triple H, again, all rumors and speculation, all of a sudden did not look as big as jacked as he used to, and then all of a sudden he announced that Stephanie McMahon, his wife, was pregnant, and you were like, wait a minute, is that kind of tie-in? And there's been other examples of this as well, but who the hell knows the truth? I understand this isn't being rolled out right now, it's still in the clinical trials phase, whatever the hell we're calling it, but it seems like a pretty dangerous way to go about it. Now, I should actually probably go and research the female pill more, because maybe that's doing a similar thing on their end, not with testosterone, of course, but when it comes to a female equivalent. But when I read that, I was like, man, you'd essentially be putting a bunch of dudes on TRT that don't need TRT. And this ties into the argument when people want to go on steroids, essentially, when they're super duper young, like 16, 17, 18, 19. If you really want to do that stuff, you should wait until you are way past your growth stage. Wait until as late as you possibly can. Try and wait until like you're in your 30s. Because if you start mucking around with your endocrine system and your hormones when you're still spitting out a bunch of testosterone and your body is still growing, and you shut yourself down, you're just going to be in for a world of hurt for the rest of your life. It's hard enough, I can only imagine, when you are a fully grown adult, but doing it then in your formative years seems like a really, really bad idea. And that's why I think this is crazy, because let's say you use it for 6 months to a year, and then you decide you want to have a kid. Well, you can't just come off it, because you're not going to have any testosterone being produced. So you're going to then have to take other forms of medication to try and turn yourself back on. Your FSH and your LSH, I think it's called, which is basically, again, it all ties into the testes. That's going to be absolutely wrecked as well. So I was kind of amazed that people are experimenting with this, but I suppose it's an individual person's choice. And maybe if you don't want kids ever, I mean, that's a different argument, right? If you don't want kids ever, then maybe it doesn't want to do it. But turning off your natural testosterone, to me, when it comes to the fitness point of view, I'm just looking at it from a gym perspective, it's not something that you ever want to do. And it's why, again, if you do go on steroids, let's say you start injecting testosterone because you want to get all big, you are going to shut yourself down, which is why people always tell you when you are done, you have to do a PCT, which stands for post-cycle therapy. I've talked about this 1,000 times. Go watch Greg Doucette, go watch More Plates, More Dates, go watch your YouTuber of choice. I know the basics when it comes to this. They are way more educated than me, and they'll be able to get you on the right track. And Professor Richard Anderson, who was doing the trial, said it worked really surprisingly well. We haven't had any pregnancies. The guy's sperm count stayed really reliably suppressed. I'm like, of course it does, because you just switched it off. You just told the body, I'm going to handle this part of production externally, so internally, you don't need to worry about it. They also talk about the fact that if somebody forgets to apply it on one day, there's probably not going to be that much of a problem in terms of getting pregnant. But that's only going to be true if you used it for a long while. I'm pretty sure this is the first week and use it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then you have sex on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then you put it back on Sunday, like a weird version of a Craig David song. You're probably still going to get your partner pregnant, would be my guess. But what do I know? Absolutely nothing. And look, they're not saying that they're going to bring this to market for another 5 years. But even in 5 years' time, which is what going to be 2026, I'd be massively intrigued to see sort of how they market it and sell it. Because it comes with a bunch of provisos, and sometimes when medication does get out there, you don't actually get told all the provisos, and you definitely want all the provisos. Now, the other is a male pill, which obviously is a bit different from a gel, well, very different, because researchers have also been working on a male pill containing, I can never pronounce it, dimetherone underconate, or DMAU. Let's just go with DMAU. The molecule can alternatively be administered in long-lasting injections. It suppresses two hormones needed to create viable sperm. This is what we were just talking about, FSH and LH. I threw an S in there because I'm an idiot. But yes, the tricky part is that suppressing these causes testosterone levels to drop, which often comes with unwanted side effects such as lowered libido, acne, and mood swings. Of course it does. You are once more just turning things off on the inside. And with this one, is I don't think it actually comes, you'd have to use the gel. You'd have to use those two things in unison with one another, I would assume. Again, going with my very, very limited knowledge and experience of this topic. But yeah, as soon as you turn off testosterone or you tell your testes to stop producing it, it has to come from somewhere else. It really, really does. And maybe some people can survive with no testosterone, but you're going to be so tired and you're going to be exhausted. And if you're into lifting weights, you're screwed. There was another study, though, about another one, which was a 2-hormone injection designed to lower sperm, but apparently had a bunch of side effects. I don't know what was in that injection, but I can only presume it was well, I'm just assuming it was testosterone or something like that. I don't know. I'm really, really confused. The final one, I think, is probably one that most people would opt for, which is basically a reversible vasectomy. Because at the moment, if you have a vasectomy, you can't reverse it, or if you can, I think it's quite a labor of love. Whereas you can put a gel that blocks the things that it needs to block, and then as the years go by, it will slowly dissolve, so therefore you can either go get more gel to block it up again, or you can just go and have a kid, or you can wear a condom, or you can do whatever the hell you want to do. So it is fascinating, and it is really interesting, and in terms of just medical science and the improvements and the technology and the progress that we made, or we make in, it's absolutely incredible. I just read all of that to you from a phone. You know, how are you doing it from a phone? So, you know, I think sometimes we have to realize what a crazy, crazy world we do live in. But yeah, as a guy who likes to go to the gym and likes to have muscles, I suppose you could debate whether that's true or not. This would be something that I just wouldn't consider it. I just wouldn't consider it for all the reasons that we've gone over. I'd rather wear a condom, or, to be honest, if someone said the only choices are, you got to get involved in all of this, or you just can't have sex again, but I don't want to have sex again. I'll just give up sex because that's how much I love the gym. Now, again, the testosterone gel may actually help you. I'd have to see what was in it sort of on a chemical level. But that may actually help you, because if it does sort of boost your testosterone levels externally or unnaturally, and every day you're getting, you know, testosterone delivered to you, regardless whether you have a good sleep or whether you're eating and so on and so forth, you may actually see enhancements in the gym. But it's still it's a crazy thing you'd need to go down. Like, you couldn't just have it and then not seek doctor's help. You'd have to go to an endocrinologist a lot. You'd have to get your blood work checked, because again, taking external testosterone can muck around with your red blood cell count and everything like that. And there's other hormones to worry about as well: estrogen, prolactin, cortisol, blah blah. I don't think it would affect your cortisol, but you know, estrogen, prolactin could absolutely come into the mix. So who knows? Who the hell knows where it's going to go? But of course, it would be great if it wasn't all on one person. That is just absolutely stupid, especially because, again, do not forget, I'm sure if you are a lady watching this, you know, the female version of the pill screws up their hormones too. And you just don't want to screw up your hormones. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, an animal, a goat, a fish, whatever. It doesn't matter. You don't want to screw up your hormones. You want to be as normal as you can possibly be. Because as soon as you do start screwing up your hormones, is when you start going on these roller coasters of emotions and you're all over the place. And nobody wants that. Life is hard enough. So there you go. Let me know what you think about that. I'll be massively fascinated. Drop me a comment below. And I'm sure I haven't spoken on it as educating as you may want, but it's the best I can do. I just thought it was a fascinating subject. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Get the bell ding ding so you know when other videos are going live. There is another video on the screen there, or there will be in 1 second. Please do give it a click. Simon.BigCartel for brand new merchandise and old merchandise too at Simon316 on Instagram and Twitter. Greg Doucette's Power 13 cookbook. Link in the description below. Use code Simon15. 15% off. Bunch of meals in there to keep your diet on track. Patreon.com for Simon316 if you want to support me there. And that's it, I believe. Otherwise, you have a good day. Maybe read up about birth control today. Why not? It's a Thursday. And what else do we do on Thursdays? I'll see you soon.